Welcome to Dungeon Draw. Today, you're helping me design a new D&D character from scratch. My name is Lorelei, and last week, I posted some polls to my story and asked you guys to help me decide on 5 different character attributes: race, class, alignment, gender, and vibes. Here's what we ended up with. Our race is going to be Dragonborn. It was close between Dragonborn and Tiefling. Elf was pretty up there as well, but I was excited about this choice. You guys picked a good one here. Next, we've got Druid as the class. This should be fun. And then we've got alignment. So you guys have picked chaotic neutral, and then gender right in the middle. Last but not least, I went online. There's a website where I found a random adjective generator, and it generated 3 random adjectives. The ones you guys chose are fabulous, frigid, and deceitful. I think we ended up with a really cool vibe here for our first character. Let's get started. After doodling a little bit, I got started on the pose. There were 2 things I wanted to keep in mind here. First, for the fabulous part of the design, I was imagining a big, flamboyant gown, and I wanted to make sure that it would flow nicely with the pose. Second, with Dragonborn characters, I've always got to keep in mind where the tail is going to end up. Something that I'm always trying to think of when working on new illustrations is balance. I've been flipping my canvas a lot lately to check if one side of the drawing feels heavier than the other, and it's really been helping. For the gown, I looked up a couple references of drag queens, because who else embodies both gender nonconformity and fabulousness so effortlessly? I primarily referenced these big, buoyant silhouettes and shapes, and I added some fur lining in different places. I imagined it as white fox fur, drawing on the theme in old fables of the deceitful fox to sort of allude to an untrustworthiness of this character, and I think this also worked nicely with the druid class. I tried to keep elements of northern animals in mind. I feel like we don't see druids that inhabit snowy places very often, so along with the fox fur, I referenced caribou antlers for the headpiece that our character ends up with. Once I'm done the sketch, I get started on the line art. This step is both the most time-consuming and the most rewarding. I have to think a lot about line weight and developing details that might not be super fleshed out in the sketch, but I always know that afterwards I get to color it all in, and that's when I start to feel like a kid with crayons. For colors, I began with a cold blue for the skin tone. I wanted the other colors to be more saturated. I went with these lovely purples and greens to keep with the frigid theme, like perhaps these are some of the colors that might exist in the snowy forest that our druid comes from. Last but not least, we have rendering. This might be my favorite step. This is when the whole thing really comes together. I love the depth that happens when you add just a few shadows and a little bit of light. It really makes a world of difference by the end. But for this one, I kept it pretty simple. For this one, I started with 1 layer of shadow and 1 layer of light, and then after I knew that I was happy with everything, I added a layer of shadow around the bottom and a layer of light around the top, just using an airbrush to draw the eye towards the top of the design, which is where I kind of want the attention to be. Now that that's all finished, all that's left is the name. Please feel free to leave a comment on what you think it should be, and thank you to all who participated in the polls last week. I had so much fun doing this, so please let me know if you liked it, and maybe we'll do more. If so, I'm excited to see what other characters we can come up with.